Hi guys, welcome to the Film Canister.
Welcome to the Film Canister.
Welcome to Film Canister.
Hi.
Welcome.
Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Film Canister, and you've heard our incredible intro for a second time. But this time we've actually put it together.
Incredible yet to exist intro.
Yeah, it's still yet to
Manny
exist.
just didn't like the key I wrote it in, so he got mad, and he made it through a fit, and then he asked me to change the key, and I haven't done it.
I had a little bit of a hissy fit.
Manny held a temper tantrum. He spilled his milk.
He got his oatmeal everywhere.
Lucky Jack doesn't have to worry about key signature.
Yeah.
Just has to bang
bang
a couple
shit.
buckets.
I'm a drummer. That's true. That's me. That's my thought process. Fucking hello, welcome. This is episode 2. We're talking about 12 Monkeys.
The 12 Monkeys.
1, 2.
We're introducing a new segment with questions that we wrote for ourselves.
'Cause-
We're going to ask. But if you have a suggestion, a prompt for a film we choose, or a question that we answer, put it in the comments and we'll put it in its respective jars. If this is your first episode, you should know what the concept is of Film Canister. The idea is that it's a movie discussion podcast where the movies that are selected are done through a prompt taken out of a slip of paper from a jar. So it's something like 60s or horror or the most disturbing movie that you've ever seen that's not technically a horror movie or something like that. And then we talk about it. We go in turns between the 4 of us, who are me, Luke.
Me, Manny.
Me, Jack.
Tegan. Okay. I'm choosing a question.
Okay, we'll do a question before the discussion.
Oh, we're doing that first?
We'll do one
Okay,
question before
okay.
discussion and one after.
What do you dislike about Luke?
This was set up!
What are the fucking chances we got that one first?
Why did you pull that one?
I thought these were real questions. I thought these were real questions, but you guys are just bullying me.
They are real questions.
Tegan snuck that one in while you were gone.
This is fucking rigged.
throwing
This is
this one in the
bullshit.
garbage.
This is ludicrous.
Okay, I'll choose another one.
Another question.
We're not
We're not
gonna
gonna
get a
answer?
chance to answer it.
Yeah, there's nothing to say because none of you guys said anything.
What does it mean for a film to be pretentious?
Jack?
Yes, Jack?
He put his hand up.
Jack's raising his hand.
When it thinks that it's smarter than you are.
Yeah, when it's constantly trying to like outsmart you, and
Yeah.
like it's just like it's acting like it's better than it is. It doesn't know its place.
It's
like,
trying to be abstract, but not really saying anything, and just being abstract for the sake of it. And not that, like, you can't do something stylistically, not that everything has to be thematically connected, but, like, when something's presented in a way where they're trying to make you think, like, oh, this means something, but it just doesn't.
That is kind of annoying.
facts. Should I pull another one? How many questions? Should we do like 3?
3 is a
We're just
magic.
banging them out.
Banging them out.
Bang, bang, bang.
We're just making this up on the go, yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure movie?
The Polar Express.
Honestly, that's a good
Oh
one.
my
That's
god.
a good.
I have PTSD.
No, some of the Harry Potter movies are genuinely
Yeah,
good.
I was gonna say if
Yeah.
you're talking about like either the Harry Potter movies or the High School Musical trilogy or Blue Velvet.
That's not guilty. You like it for. You don't hide that you like it at all.
Oh, I don't hide that I like any.
I
of
mean,
it.
Hank has some guilty pleasures in that movie. but-
Whoa!
Sorry, Frank, not Hank.
I was like, I don't know what you're implying, Manny.
I have a bit of an abstract choice.
Pretentious.
I'm gonna say Mom and Dad by Brian Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
The movie where Nicolas Cage goes batshit and like tries to murder his children.
Yeah.
I want to defend that movie like to the grave. That movie is so fun.
It looks fun. I haven't
It's
seen
so fun. There are so many incredible moments. He builds a pool table and then he just destroys it while singing the Hokey Pokey for like no reason. He just does that.
Another one of mine is Halloween Town. All of the Halloween Town movies.
So just every Disney Channel original. That's Tegan.
We've exclusively named kids movies and Mom and Dad.
it. Yeah. Specifically out of the Star Wars prequels, I think Attack of the Clones. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But it's just like endlessly entertaining. It's like every fucking second there's just something funny.
It's pretty high up in my Star Wars ranking, like unironically. I love that movie.
Really?
It's number 5 out of 11.
Because like there's a lot of people who say that the prequels are genuinely good, and I really don't think they are. But just
No.
from a purely like entertainment value perspective only, of just like how much do they make you laugh, especially like 2 and 3 are just like pretty fucking high up.
Yeah. I think 3 is like genuinely a good movie. I love that
I
movie.
don't know if it's that good. Honestly.
Okay, it's not like good, but it's like good.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your third question, Tegan?
If you could have lunch with one director, who would it be?
Living or dead?
Living or dead.
Living or dead.
I'd say Charlie Kaufman, so I can check if he's okay, because I'm really worried about him. Like, I don't think he's doing all right, so I just want to be like, hey, are you good?
I'd probably choose Roman Polanski so I could bring him into America and get him sent to prison.
I'm gonna say the Safdie brothers because I love how much they like shit on each other in interviews, and I think that would be really funny to witness live.
If I had a lunch with the Safdie brothers, I'd be like, hey, you know your Aunt Sylvia? She's my grandma's friend. So.
He has a backhanded flex.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, well, like, Aunt, like, once removed.
And you haven't met them yet?
No, I met them at TIFF.
Oh,
I just forgot to say that.
You should. Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, no, all the Jews know each other. That's the thing.
I would choose David Lynch, obviously.
No,
If
really.
I could choose like a non-director but film person, I'd choose Sven Nykvist because I love that man with my whole
He
heart.
directed one movie.
He did direct one movie. He actually directed 2 movies. I've only seen one of them, but I would choose Sven Nykvist or David Lynch.
Sorry, who?
He shot all the Bergman stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I think my real answer would be like Stanley Kubrick, just because like
He's scary.
it would be a very
Stan.
intimidating conversation to talk
Yeah.
to Stanley Kubrick. But
Remember the video we watched that Criterion Closet of the guy who played Joker from Full Metal Jacket, and he was just like subtly flexing. He's like, "Oh yeah, my friend Stanley Kubrick."
Yeah, I love Matthew Modine.
he like picks up Doctor Strangelove. He's like, "Oh yeah, my friend Stanley made."
If you're on a first name basis with Stanley Kubrick, you've like won.
I think I've like intentionally made myself like call David Lynch just David. I'm like on a first name basis with him.
I do that with Wong.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's on a first name basis with their favorite director.
I said Kaufman, and like that is true, but like I think another big one would probably be Trey Edward Schultz. I just kind of get the vibe. He just seems like a pretty chill guy.
Seems like a neat dude.
I met him at TIFF. I saw Waves at TIFF, and then I was walking out of the theater beside him, and we were like walking side by side, but I didn't say anything.
I had that exact same interaction with Takashi Miike.
I was freaked out. I thought he was gonna like leave through some like back entrance for like the special people, but he just walked out the normal exit, and then I was right beside him, and I was like,
He claps his hands together and disappears on like a cloud of smoke.
Oh, Lucas Hedges was there too. I could have said hi to him too as well.
I'm waiting for Manny to say you could have told him to act better. I'm not gonna do that, Tegan. I'm literally not gonna look behind me for the rest of the episode.
Tegan, that joke is like the worst joke you could do on a podcast.
Nobody sees our cameras.
Tegan just held up a piece of paper to the camera that said, "Jack, look behind you," and he said, "I'm not gonna do that," which no one else except people in this call would understand.
Remove this explanation. Just have me saying, Tegan, I'm not gonna do that with no context.
So that's 3 questions. We want to get into the conversation about not 1.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 11,
This is
12.
funny,
Monkeys.
guys. I said I was going to watch 12 monkeys in the group chat. Luke sends 12 separated monkey emojis. My phone starts blowing up. I'm like 20 minutes in. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there? All right. Well, what did everybody think?
Full spoil. Okay, wait, hold
okay.
up. Let me do this.
No, wait. You should do that. You should do that thing every time, like that voiceover thing. I like that.
No.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
Yeah, you sounded like the fucking like a 1920s.
Wait, I'm gonna do it in the voice of the guy from Come and See. Full spoilers discussion for 12.
Okay, ready, guys? Full spoilers for 12 Monkeys. The IMDb plot description reads, in a future world devastated by disease, a convict is sent back in time to gather information about the man-made virus that wiped out most of the human population on the planet.
Boom, boom, boom.
That reminds me of a little thing called
The crony
a little current event.
I thought you were saying coronavirus, like coronavirus.
Little
like-
current
I
event.
think the obvious thing is that this is a very relevant topical movie.
The other week, my sister was like, whatever happened to the coronavirus? Like, she thought COVID-19 was like a different thing.
Oh,
That's embarrassing.
that's very embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Manny, literally my first note of the movie is topical opening.
Of like him getting sprayed down and everyone wearing masks and shit, and it's like
I want to look into it, but I want to know like what people think about this as like a depiction of mental illness.
that was something I was
Because I
wondering.
feel like it's very stereotypical and very like possibly damaging. But I also read that there was some like specific disease that they tackled.
So like that's Terry Gilliam for you.
I couldn't say if it was accurate. or
I
not.
couldn't say either. I'm just curious if it's like it came across as very like just like the people in the background specifically came across as very like obviously they weren't developed characters, so it's not like they delve into like multiple illnesses for people to portray, and so it just felt very like, oh, let's just have these people in the back act like they're like
act quote unquote crazy.
I thought that at one point, but then I also remembered that in the second season of American Horror Story, which is called Asylum, it's set like there, and all of the background extras in this movie acted like the background extras from that show, and that show came out in like 2012. So
yeah, I'd just be curious to know from like someone who, or just like from people, if that's like an offensive depiction of it.
oh wait, we didn't give context as to how this comes in. That's not in the plot description at all, is it?
Yeah, so the main character is like in the future or present or
it's the present for him, and he gets sent back into like the 1990s when this guy's like starting to make the virus. He gets sent back to the 90s by accident when he's supposed to get sent to 96, but he's in the 90s. He's at this mental asylum with Brad Pitt's character, and that's them. They're like in this, and he's trying to escape because he's obviously in the wrong decade. I mean, not the wrong decade, but the wrong year. And so he's trying to get out and tell people that, you know, he needs to like call someone, but the number isn't attached to the right person for the next 6 years because it's not 96, it's 90.
I thought he was sent in 95.
well, he's stuck in 90, but he's supposed to be in 96.
Yeah, he's stuck in 90.
No, I thought I was 90. Okay.
Yeah, so he had to wait he would have had to wait like 6 years.
Why did I think it was 95?
So that number wasn't assigned to the right person at that point, so he couldn't have called it, and so he just like looked like crazy.
Should I say my predictions, whether they were right or not?
Well, explain what the predictions were.
My predictions were that I would love Brad Pitt but hate the aesthetic. And I'm going to say that I was about 75% right on both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I liked what I thought I was going to hate, which was the like futuristic parts where like his current time. And I hated everything else because it was just gross, grungy New York or like wherever the fuck they were. I don't know what city that was. It looked like
They
New
were in
York.
Philadelphia and Baltimore.
Philadelphia? Even worse. I've been to Philadelphia. It is that yucky. No offense to all of our Philadelphian viewers. I know there's a ton of you.
Yeah, all like zero.
I really hated that aesthetic, and that was like most of the movie. So I was kind of grossed out. And this is going to be very controversial. I only thirsted over Brad Pitt when they were in the asylum.
Oh.
Every time else,
Was it the hair?
he was so fucking yucky because of the gross ass rat tail. No, Brad. I mean, I know it served a purpose in the plot, but still, you could have chosen any other fucking hairstyle.
I don't like the rat tail. I should wear a rat tail.
I knew a guy with a rat tail in middle school, and it was really awful.
Do you guys think this is the best Brad Pitt performance?
Probably not, actually.
No.
Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. I think it could be.
It might be the best one that I've ever seen.
I think he's better in Fight Club.
Oh, I haven't
I
seen.
haven't seen Fight Club. I like him as Cliff Booth. Oh, and he was pretty good as fucking who's the guy from Inglourious Bastards?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Aldo
that's true.
Rain.
Borlami.
Gorlami.
Honestly, I think this might be better than.
He's
that.
really good in Ad Astra too. Am I the only one of you that's seen Ad Astra?
Yeah.
No
I
one
almost
else watches his dumb space movies.
It's not a dumb space movie. It's like Apocalypse Now in space. It's really cool.
My only sort of reservation about Brad Pitt's performance is sort of what you were saying earlier, Tegan, is just I'm not entirely sure how tasteful his performance is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like if he's specifically portraying a specific like mental illness or disease, or if he's just sort of like in general kind of like acting crazy.
But also, was that even intentional? Because it's Terry Gilliam, and like every performance in a Terry Gilliam movie is fucking balls to the wall.
That's true, yeah.
So
If we're talking with Terry Gilliam, I shouldn't put our camera like this.
I was gonna say there's so many fucking Dutch angles in this movie. For context, Luke and Tegan just tilted their camera like 30 degrees.
I thought it was kind of interesting how they shot Bruce Willis's character the entire time. Like it was always very low angles.
yeah, I love Terry's low angles.
They're very interesting because I feel like it's really easy to have a low angle that's really awfully lit, and so the person's face just looks very like saggy and weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he did a good job of like compensating with the light.
I love whenever he switches to like that kind of Fallen Angels like fisheye sort of. He did that in Brazil, and that was like my favorite parts of the movie.
That's something. It's like I hadn't heard that much about 12 Monkeys going into this, and I just imagined it would be like this really kind of dark, gritty, sort of grim movie. But like Terry Gilliam's like directing style, it's so just like animated and just like full of like eccentric character, and it was just so like lively in a lot of ways. And it's still like a mostly serious movie, but just he just sort of brings this kind of like
It's consistently fun. Yeah. Like it's just very entertaining.
It's so entertaining. It's probably the most like like all the way through entertaining time travel movie I've ever seen. Because time travel can get really boring as a plot device in my
Harry
opinion.
Potter and the Prisoner. Actually, that one really only has time travel for like half an hour.
That's like 20 minutes of time travel.
Yeah, that's like the last third.
I think I was reading about how to like make sense of the plot because I know that the ending was like me and Luke were like, wait, what? But then it made sense to me.
We're gonna get into this, the whole time travel. Like
it made sense to me because I read about it. So apparently, Bruce Willis, they think that like the government or whoever's in charge chose Bruce Willis's character because they knew that he was going to be shot in that timeline. No matter what he was going to do, no matter how like dangerous of a person he was, because he like pulled out his tooth and like everything and like was going off the rails, they knew that no matter what he did, history would take its course and he would end up dying because they weren't trying to affect the events of the past. They're just trying to use the information from the past to like help the future.
So it's
when he got shot, sort of like they knew it was going to happen. And then you see the shot in the airplane, and that woman who's there says she's there as insurance, which literally means she's like from the future in the past, making sure that he actually died and things went the way they were supposed to go. Like intentionally sitting beside the guy who had the virus.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, insurance. True. Yeah, so it is sort of like Harry Potter time travel in that way of like everything's already happening, and the only time travel you can do is just sort of confirm what's already happened.
Yeah, they're just like kind of rolling with it and using that as info.
That's how it goes. And like it's what is it called? Closed loop time travel. It's like in Back to the Future, they go back and they do stuff and then it makes a whole new timeline and there's new consequences that are there. And that's like
it's called the predestination loop. So everything that happened is going to happen regardless of what you do in the book.
That's the most fun type.
It's also the easiest because it's like you don't have to think about like alternate timelines and shit.
No, I think it's really hard to make. I mean, making all those connections.
No, I mean the easiest to think about for the audience, not for like the filmmaker.
I feel like there's less like butterfly effect.
I just realized the audio is coming through our speakers, and we shouldn't have done that. We're gonna put earbuds in right now, and we're gonna fix it.
While I was fixing my audio, this great conversation happened.
I have a note that says so much man ass. Because there's like 3 shots of like... No, there's 2 for Bruce Willis and then there's 1 for Brad when he fucking pulls out his ass and like runs around the room and they have to like take him out.
Oh, there is 3.
Okay, let's keep talking about 12 Monkeys. We had a little... There we go.
Fun fact, its 25th anniversary was this past
Crazy.
December,
Wow.
so...
Should I talk about my drama that I did while researching?
Let's hear the drama, sure.
This is obviously a little bit of exaggeration, but like a sizable portion of this movie is just like stolen.
What?
I watched La Jetée yesterday, and it's literally like the exact same plot.
So what is La Jetée?
Okay, so La Jetée is a short film that 12 Monkeys is like inspired by, right? And it's a very, very loose definition of the word inspired, because inspired is, to me, like, you know, I saw a horse, so I was inspired to like paint a barn or some shit like that. But like this is literally just like a straight up copy of La Jetée.
Yeah, okay. On Screen Rant, there's this like 10 behind the scenes facts, and one of them is it says it's a remake of a short French movie.
Yeah, it's just dead ass like the same thing.
So
Okay, to give Terry Gilliam some credit, it does say, I think it says at the beginning, based on the short film.
No, it says inspired by.
Yeah.
I think. And that's what ticked me off.
Let me go pull it up on Netflix and
Maybe we
fact
Go
check.
pull it up on Netflix. Another thing is that they there was literally a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit against, I don't know, like the production company, and won. This artist did, because the scenes where he's sitting in the chair and then they have like the weird orb that has all like their eyes on it and it's talking to him. That is like a piece of art that some artist did, and it's like a direct copy of that.
Wow, they're just thieves.
oh fuck.
He just stole it without asking. And then they fucking lost a lawsuit to the artist because they just took it. You should put the art up on screen. It's a pretty cool picture.
I'll put it on the YouTube for the podcast if people are interested. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then you can't see it. But
Well, if you say Apple Podcast, no, I'm not starting the Spotify argument. We're not doing this again.
I think I cut it out last time when you argued about that.
Did you?
Yeah, kind of like we're not having a Apple Music versus Spotify argument on the podcast.
God damn it! I'm outnumbered.
Yeah, because okay, we're not doing this.
We're here for the artist. We're here for the artists, Jack.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of this movie is just straight up like copied. And I don't think that makes me like it less, but like still, it's a little questionable.
At least call it a remake.
At least call it a remake.
Like I think it's fine to remake something with permission. Just like
Get permission.
just get permission and call it a remake.
Wait, but isn't that the film like motto? Like, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness, or some shit like that.
Good artists copy, great artists steal.
Yeah, Tarantino. His entire filmography is stolen.
If you steal from enough different things, then it's not thievery.
Then it's okay.
Guys, I think I am Jeffrey. Like I literally would do what he did. I would release all the animals from the zoo. Because animals' rights. I would.
That's the only thing you would do? You wouldn't kidnap your father?
Well, if he was making the zoo animals in there, yeah, I would.
Oh, I want to talk about the Letterboxd interaction I had. Okay, so I was scrolling through the shop reviews, and it was like really late at night. I was tired. The review is by Kay Hurston or Kristen. I don't fucking know. 2 stars. Monkey lovers, please don't be fooled. There are 0 monkey in this movie.
That's not true.
That's not true. And I thought it was my duty to tell them that. So I commented, there literally are monkeys. I hate this review. You are blind. Blind, I tell you. The monkeys, they're there. Just look harder. Look, I'm telling you. The monkeys are there. Listen to me. They're there, you see.
God, you really didn't have to go that hard.
So I go on a crazy rant. Like, it looks like fucking, like, cave wall scrawlings. The next comment is, Dr. Bees knows what's up and also has a very good opinion about the SpongeBob SquarePants film. Not even fucking mentioning my crazy...
Completely unrelated.
Fucking rant, just talking about the SpongeBob film. I thought that was a nice tidbit.
That is a good tidbit.
Funny.
And an update on the Netflix thing. It does say inspired. I was wrong.
I finally won one of these. I'm usually like always wrong with these.
Yeah.
And I never learn.
I mean, I doubt there'd be like a lawsuit over something that was being truthful. Just saying, Luke.
Yeah, but like it's a shitty use of the word inspired.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a shitty use of the word inspired. That last bit was inspired by what Jack said.
Topical. Good. I'll give it to you. That was a good one. Oh. Anyway, what else? We've talked a lot about things adjacent to the movie, but not much of the movie itself.
The movie itself, I think, is actually really fun.
It's the best Terry Gilliam movie I've seen.
It's the only Terry Gilliam I've seen. No, I have seen Holy Grail.
Yeah, I've seen that in Fear and Loathing.
But it's been a while, so this is the only Terry Gilliam that's like fresh in my memory. And I thought it was excellent. I thought the script was like really well put together and just really tight. Like there was just a lot of great sort of like reincorporation.
Yeah. And
just like ideas that they keep bringing back. And like every other line, it felt like was just some kind of clever sort of nod to something else.
I was actually convinced that Brad Pitt's character was going to be like a part of the like time traveling stuff.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be the dude with the suitcase.
There was so much it seemed like there was so much hinting in his words. Like he kept saying things like we're supposed to be mentally ill, and I'm like,
yeah, it
felt like there's so much like foreshadowing happening, and then there wasn't.
Well, also because they gave him the same haircut as the dude that we actually see with the case in the airport.
Yeah. I was like, why is this what?
Which is a disgusting ass haircut.
This is something I was wondering, is like the dude who actually spread the virus, like was he sort of shown in the movie?
He showed up once.
He was the scientist.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him.
I had to Google it, but he was the scientist that, remember when Brad Pitt's dad is like, we need to up the security systems or some shit like that. Yeah, he was that scientist.
Oh, true. Yeah, he is there. Because like when he showed up right at the end, it almost felt to me like it's just this random character we've never seen before. But yeah, he was.
I know. There's the huge reveal of the doctor like looking at him and then going like, oh my god, and running off, and I was like, what? Like, who the fuck was that?
Maybe on a rewatch it'll just be like a lot more clever in seeing how they set things up and like hit it in plain sight.
All right, my dad said that he imagines that COVID-19 started in the way where that guy just has the vial and he's like, it's odorless. And that's how the whole thing started.
Well, I remember reading like in like early COVID days about this guy in Japan who got the virus, and he's like, I'm going to spread the virus, and like purposefully went around.
That's like an anime villain.
Knowing he was sick, trying to give it to other people. And it's like there's a quote from him just saying like, I'm going to spread the virus, and it's just like the most
I love how like blanket and the statement is.
He just straight up he's honest.
He's not being secretive at all.
That is just the textbook definition of chaotic neutral. It's just like
Oh, that's chaotic
I mean, it is
evil.
kind
No,
of
that's
evil,
yeah.
but
No, it's
just a
neutral
very
evil.
Yeah, he didn't use any extra words. Moving on. I love Terry's use of really like scary low angles on like brutalist architecture.
Yeah.
Because he does dystopia so well.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't like Brazil, I can admit the dystopia that's depicted in that world is so like overbearing and really like scary.
Yeah.
And in this movie, I don't think it's done as well in this movie because it's not like sets, it's architecture that exists. It's just like Philadelphia.
They make like modern real life architecture feel like dystopian.
Yeah.
Like they're able to just take kind of everyday like 1990s life, and it feels just like this post-apocalyptic worlds.
Yeah, I loved it.
And also like the set design and like everything in like the future sections were like really interesting.
Yeah, I loved that part, and I thought I was gonna hate
The
it.
sets and everything were like really cool. The tunnel that he enters to go into the time travel, where it has
Oh,
like
I
that
love that.
clear plastic around him. It's just such a cool design.
This movie told me that I could be wrong about my judgment of a movie based on the Letterboxd backdrop. I thought I wasn't going to like it based on the backdrop, but I did. I liked that part. So who knows? I could be wrong about Repo Man.
I like the part with the gorilla, and I like the part with the monkey.
When is there a gorilla?
In the end, when they show the animals being released, there's a big gorilla.
Oh yeah.
Visually, the only like criticism I had is that some of the animal effects were not the most realistic.
Oh yeah, like the giraffes.
like the giraffes on the bridge were just like pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that's another thing I have to say. The green screen in this movie was terrible.
I mean, yeah.
There's a couple shots when they're bringing him to the board of scientists when he's like in the shackles and they're walking through that gigantic tunnel, and there's a side shot of them, and I was like, this is some of the least convincing green screen I have ever seen.
I have one critique, and it has to do with the time travel. So this movie is consistent in its rules, but there's one part where they probably realized they had to make it consistent, but the way they make it consistent is really dumb.
is it the fact that they just vanish?
No, I was cool with that. The thing is, so in like Back to the Future, Marty goes back and he changes stuff, and then it creates a new timeline where all of his changes, it shows what they affected on the future. In this one, everything that Bruce Willis did, he already did. So there's that phone call that
The Merry Christmas one?
yeah, whatever her name, she leaves the phone call, and they already have it at the beginning of the movie. But Bruce Willis leaves another phone call, and then presumably in a normal time travel movie, that would be sent to the future. But the way they're doing it is that they'd already would have had it. So the way they get around that is like, we just decoded the phone call just now, which I thought was kind of like
I thought that
was kind of contrived. Yeah.
I thought that too. Because like they had never mentioned it before. They literally all they need to do to fix that was just show bits of that other phone call earlier, and then be like, oh, we're decoding it as we speak, or some shit like that. I mean, it'd still be dumb, but it'd be less dumb.
They kind of wrote themselves into a corner, because it's like, if he had that warning about the 12 monkeys thing already, then he wouldn't have gone back in time. So they had to have decoded it later. So it just kind of how it turned out. It was still consistent, but it kind of just felt...
That's just like the nature of predestination. Like, they need to be like unaware of the fact that it's already happened, so that they can make it happen.
People have this criticism, especially the Harry Potter time travel, where they're like, oh, if they hadn't already made the changes, why would they have gone back in time to begin with? It's like, that's a paradox. But it's like, the way I think about it is like, there's no timeline where it
Like, is it like an infinite loop? Like, is that how that works? Like, he goes
Yeah.
back, he does all that stuff, and then the kid sees it, and then that kid grows up and does it again, and then it just infinitely loops?
Yeah. I think because like when he's an adult, he's like saying that he remembers seeing this as a child. So
That's neither like separate timelines or fucking with time. It's just one timeline infinitely looping, and like that fucks with my mind. I don't know how I can picture that.
I guess the way to think about it isn't that it's an infinite loop. It's just like seeing the other perspective of the flashback.
But then what happens to that kid?
It's just the same thing that happened in the movie, but it's not like it happens another time. It's just the original time.
But how could he have a memory of something?
Because he remembers. It's not in order, because it's a time travel movie.
I don't know, man.
that's a bit confusing. Like the kid we see at the end, he's going to grow up to enact the events of this movie, but it ends on a flashback.
He's gonna grow up to enact the events of the movie, but it's not gonna be like a different version. It's gonna be the same version.
Yeah, that's what Jack said. Oh, he just said an infinite loop of the same events over and over and over again.
Yeah, but it's not happening over and over. It happened once.
Yeah, but then it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, but then what happens to that kid?
What happens to the kid who sees it in that time?
Yeah, but he's at the start of the movie. He's not doing it again.
But then that kid does grow up to be him, and then he does it again. That kid has to grow up into somebody.
But he doesn't do it again. That kid is the Bruce Willis we're seeing.
Yeah, but then that means that kid is still gonna grow up and do that.
Yeah, but
right?
that's
even if you're seeing the kid, right? Even if the kid is there and watching Bruce Willis shoot the dude or get shot, right? That kid has to go somewhere. That kid has to grow up. That timeline doesn't just get deleted. He's still there, and he still has to grow up, and he becomes the Bruce Willis that he's watching get shot.
Yeah.
So it's an infinite loop.
I just don't think it's more like if you had like a DVD and you rewind it to the start a bunch of times. It's not like it's happening again after. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to explain this, but Terry Gilliam is he's showing us every perspective of this one timeline. It's not like at the end it's different from the main movie. That kid is not different from the one who grows up into the main movie. It's not like there's a new kid that's going to go forward now. It's just him in the future. He's just going back to look at it.
Like because when you go back in time, it's like there's two versions of yourself, but it's not like it's a new version. It's like,
is this confusing or am I just dumb?
It's definitely a bad listening experience. No one understands what this argument's about.
Not even the people having the argument.
Yeah.
Tegan looks like physically in pain.
I liked the shot. This is very specific, but I like the part where Bruce Willis's character is trying to leave the mental hospital and he's like holding on the railing. I thought that was really interestingly shot.
That whole scene was awesome.
That was really effective. That whole scene was really interesting. Just like watching him like super like drugged up and just like
and Brad Pitt is fucking amazing in that scene. Just like wild goose chasing around the whole room.
Oh yeah, apparently Brad Pitt's performance was like that erratic because like he was like a heavy smoker at the time, and like for the role Terry Gilliam like made him stop smoking cigarettes so he would like.
Good on Terry.
It was just a good choice all around, even if they weren't doing a movie. Film Canister is an anti-smoking podcast.
Yeah, does that mean that Brad Pitt would be doing that if he had just like quit cigs? Brad Pitt would be stealing keys from people and like running around the room.
He becomes the character.
What's with that dude who just stands up and goes like, I have stocks, I'm fucking free, or whatever the fuck? What is with that dude? What is the purpose of that? They had to write that into the movie. There's no way that wasn't scripted.
Maybe it's just Terry Gilliam being weird.
Terry Gilliam's a weird guy. I'm too focused on this. I was trying to sleep and I thought of that.
It kept you up.
I have another thing like that. I have the fuck is up with the dude in the Santa costume.
That didn't happen.
No, it did. I'm not crazy. Okay, so they're getting off the bus. It's just after he rips his teeth out. They're getting off the bus. For a single frame, there's a dude with a Santa costume. Half of him, he like steps into frame and then steps out. It's like 1 second he's there.
Well, she ends the call with Merry Christmas, so maybe that like inspired her.
Yeah, but because is it even Christmas?
I don't know. Is it like Brazil? That's set at Christmas.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Brazil's not the most memorable movie for me.
I'd agree with that, but I just know it because people refer to it as a Christmas movie.
That's dumb. Not everything that takes place at Christmas is a Christmas movie. I hate that.
Oh.
A hot take.
Are we going to have this debate right now?
Every Harry Potter movie is not a Christmas movie.
I guess because Harry Potter's take events over the entire year. If the movie is set around Christmas only. Die Hard takes place over the course of like a day, and that day is like Christmas.
Yeah, but Die Hard counts because it's explicitly Christmas. There's like ho 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 in it.
If they say ho ho ho, it is a Christmas movie.
If the movie takes place at Christmas but doesn't like have Christmas be part of the plot or doesn't bring Christmas into the plot, it's not a Christmas movie.
Hey, Christmas is barely part of the plot of Die Hard.
It's a Christmas party.
I think people just say Harry Potter is a Christmas movie because of like the general like cozy like wintertime setting. So that's why I watch it in like the fall, and like I usually actually start watching that around Halloween.
My perspective on what is or isn't a Christmas movie is as open-ended as possible because there aren't enough good Christmas movies. So the more we can get, the more we can call a Christmas movie, the better. And like it's not like we're losing anything by calling it a Christmas movie. So.
Integrity. If you call Brazil a Christmas movie, you have lost all integrity, and I have no more respect for you.
Jack, have you seen Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
That's a Christmas movie.
It's not a Christmas movie.
They go Christmas shopping.
In the end.
That's a Christmas movie.
5 minutes.
He goes to a bar that has Christmas lights. The party that he goes to is pitched as a Christmas party, I think.
That's a Christmas movie.
And there's a scene where Nicole Kidman is talking to Tom Cruise about buying Christmas gifts for the kids.
Okay, you need at least three Christmas-related plot points.
The movie starts with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman at a Christmas party.
Film law. Banging my gavel. You need 3 Christmas-related things to plot points to be a Christmas movie. Brazil has none.
Okay, final thoughts on 12 Monkeys.
Really good. It's like a solid 9 out of 10. It was almost an 8, but it's solid. It's not a 10, but it's a 9.
It's an 8 because there's not enough monkeys.
I would agree that it is like an 8.
I'd also give it an 8. Manny,
way to be. You just got
Manny will give you
canceled,
$10 if you
left
lower
out.
it to an 8.
It was an even split in that last episode, and now I've converted to Luke and Tegan's side.
It wasn't. Last time I gave it a 9.5.
Fuck you with your fucking half stars. There are no quarter stars.
If you want to do 3.5,
Just
sure.
convert to. You guys invent your own systems.
I can invent my own systems.
Do you like the Roger Ebert 4
Oh
stuff?
God, yeah. Why?
I will do it out of 4 to be different.
Because I'm Roger Ebert. Hot take: Roger Ebert has not good opinions.
Yeah, he gave Blue Velvet a really low score, so I don't have any respect for him at all.
His
Argument was that Isabella Rossellini was forced and subjected to being like naked in the film. Like, you realize she read the script and agreed to it, right?
Yeah.
David Lynch didn't like force her to do anything. She agreed to do
Also,
it.
even out, Kyle MacLachlan fully has his dick
Yeah.
out.
Roger Ebert just doesn't understand how movies work.
He does.
He thinks everyone's like forced into doing it.
Yeah, these like high school students are like, this like the most famous film reviewer of all time doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, on the Blue Velvet review, he also was like, it's tonally dissonant because there's like campy parts and like upbeat parts, and then there's
That's-
messed up parts. It's like,
That's
that's the whole point.
That's the point of the movie. He's missing the point. Like, he's literally challenging the idea of like American suburbia and like the American dream. The American dream itself is like campy and like crazy and like weird. Like, it's like an upbeat and like.
Oh God, we're talking about Blue
Happy.
Velvet now.
But then the point of it is to show like the underworld of American suburbia, which is weird and creepy and surrealist and dark. That's the point. The conflicting tones is the point.
Okay, quickly moving on from the Blue Velvet talk.
The law of Tegan's gun. If Blue Velvet is mentioned in the first act, it has to come back in the last act.
Okay, let's draw 3 more questions and then we'll do our movie, okay?
Awesome.
First question.
First question. What movie needs to be added to the Criterion Collection? Inland Empire. Inland Empire needs to be added because there is no digital releases of that anywhere, and it needs to happen. And there's no streaming. We need Inland. We need a David set. That's what we need.
I'm actually going to disagree with Tegan because the movie is so low res, it doesn't need like a restoration and a high
I'm
quality
not
copy.
asking to have it restored. I'm just asking to put it in
I
a
guess.
set. I'm not
I guess they
asking
did
a
do
restoration.
Bamboozle.
I was gonna say Fallen Angels, but the Wong Kar-wai box set's coming out, so technically
What
it
about
is.
a good version of Fallen Angels, though?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like with the colors
Yeah.
right.
It'll still be good. It'll still be like almost maybe my favorite movie.
Do you think the change in color brings it down?
No, maybe I don't know. I still have my normal copy. That's what I care about. As long as I can watch the original.
I literally was like panicked to have the In the Mood for Love normal, like the normal version.
Yeah.
Because I like.
I think Happiness should be on Criterion, and it's not because there's no HD version of that movie.
Luke, you already own like 4 copies.
Yeah, but I want the Blu-ray.
Yeah, Synecdoche, New York, Criterion.
Yep.
Europe?
Blu-ray is really hard to find. It's really expensive.
That's my flex, baby. I have a Synecdoche Blu-ray.
Yeah, and it's about to become obsolete once Manny's wish comes true.
Everything Manny says comes true. Haven't you been told?
Guys, Happiness, Criterion.
That's what I said.
Manny just zones out anytime Luke talks.
Were you inspired?
He was inspired.
I didn't hear you.
Okay, ready? If you could be on one film set in history, what would it be? Eraserhead. Sorry for the David spree.
Tegan, don't answer David Lynch challenge.
But imagine seeing Eraserhead in color. Like, it'd be awful, but it'd be really cool.
Like, oh, that would be cursed. I don't know if I want to.
I know, like, I was like,
I don't know if I want to. I feel like if I saw it in color, it might ruin it.
it would be, like, awful, but it would also be, like, really awesome.
Okay, I'm taking the optimal choice. So here's my plan. I go to the Avengers Infinity War set, right? I got a fuck ton of autographs, and I make a dickload of money.
Jack's taking the tactical approach.
Jack, counterpoint, you should go to one where all the people are dead, so you have like really expensive autographs.
No, then nobody would believe me.
No, there's a way to verify those things, right?
Not really.
What about you, Manny?
I think The Shining, to be at the hotel.
Just watch Kubrick just yell at Shelley Duvall.
Just watch Kubrick literally like mentally destroy everybody.
Well, maybe I'd like. I don't. That feels like such a fucking annoyed. Like, oh, I'd stop him. Like,
I go to the set of Birth of a Nation and stop them from making the movie.
I think it's concerning how good of a time Jack Nicholson was having on The Shining. Like, he was just chilling.
Kubrick was definitely like playing favorites with Jack.
Aw, with me? Aw. Thanks, Stanley.
Oh, okay. No, I think being on the set for Ron
Oh.
would be like incredible. Just seeing all those extras in there out in like the
You
costumes.
get run
and shit.
over by a horse.
Oh, Whoa.
Okay, you guys ready for the next question?
Yes, sir.
This is not film related, but it's like a podcast cliche, so we have to do it. Do you believe in souls, ghosts, spirits, UFOs, or the afterlife?
What the fuck?
I guess the UFO part is a bit of a separate question.
Yeah.
Do you believe in little green men?
I believe in souls and I believe in spirits, but I don't believe in the afterlife. Like, I mean, like in the sense that there's like a heaven or a hell.
How can you believe in ghosts but not an afterlife?
I don't think that there's like a heaven or like a hell. That's all I meant in like the sense of like.
You don't believe in the stereotypical heaven or hell, but you do believe.
I don't believe in like a religious view of like death.
Okay, yeah.
I just think that like someone's soul, I think people have souls, and I think every like living thing has a soul. And I think that doesn't leave when you die.
I think I agree with that, yeah.
I'm a no to all of them. I'm a cynic there.
So is he.
Okay, I'm kind of a UFO guy because that's like kind of a real thing.
I believe in that too. I believe that there's like aliens and shit.
There's aliens.
There's definitely life other than Earth in the universe, like...
Yeah, like it may not be gray aliens with like 3 fingers and fucking photon lasers, but there's shit out there.
Like you have to be so like self-centered and like just like selfish to believe that you're the only living thing.
Yeah, it's the same thought process as like the fucking Earth is at the center of the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not the only important thing out there. We're probably not even the most important thing out there.
No, we're probably like literally insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a crazy theory as to why aliens haven't fucked with us yet. Just the fact that we're so like we don't matter to them.
Don't, like probably just saw us and like whatever.
In terms of like life after death, I'm a bit of an agnostic. I don't know. We don't have any way of knowing, and I'd like to hope that there's something. But we have consciousness, and like it's just like would it linger after our brain, after our body dies? Like
I think if you believe the brain and the mind are separate things, or if consciousness is something not physical, then you kind of have to go a bit further than being a cynic. So what do you think about that, Jack?
I don't know. I just don't like thinking that I'm bigger than I am, you know?
Like, do you think your like sense of you, like what it's like to be you, is just something created in like the tissue of your brain, or that's like something not physical?
That's a good question.
I think it's something beyond physical, but maybe that's just the life experiences that I've had.
I think I agree.
I've had a lot of very like spirit-y type interactions my whole life. Like when I was a kid, I would like talk to stuff and like have genuine conversations with things. I can like feel things, like I can feel when like energy is like off in rooms and like very heavy and like hard on my shoulders. But that's just like growing up in like a very different like idea though. I think a lot of that, like your opinion, comes from like how you've grown up.
The majority of people in my family are scientists, so I've always had a very
exactly. I mean, my dad's the same way. My dad doesn't believe in anything he can't like see. And Luke's kind of the same way.
Kind of. I think the consciousness is something that's a bit... I don't think it's purely like brain tissue.
What's this podcast going to be named? Like 12 Monkeys and Existentialism?
Okay. So one last thing is just like, I think there's this idea of like, there's a tree and there's 2 things you can do. Either you can just sit beneath the tree, bask in its leaves and its trunk and the sunlight coming through the leaves and breathe the air around it, or you can read a textbook and understand everything of the origin of the tree, the roots, the biology, and you're looking at it from like a distance. And in which scenario do you think you've better understood the tree?
This is going to be really contrary to literally everything I have said before, but I think the first option, I believe in how stuff makes you feel over more than like actually figuring it out.
Yeah.
That's why I like fucking Wong Kar-wai so much. His stuff is style over substance, like feeling over actual plot. I think that affects me more and like makes a better movie than actually.
Yeah, I think that's why I enjoy David as well. I think that's why his stuff is more like he gives you pretty like complex ideas in his films and very complex mature themes, and he like gives you little pieces to like hint you towards what you're supposed to be like kind of getting at, and then you could take that piece and interpret it literally however the fuck you want. Like this new dimension of reality I'm giving you, this like layer of the world that I'm handing you.
Some of my favorite moments from like David Lynch's films are where it's like doesn't need to be sort of directly related to the plot or explained in any way. It's just about how it feels. Like the scene in Mulholland Drive where they're just watching the performance of the woman singing. You could just view that as just like an isolated scene of just like them watching a performance, but it's just like the most moving thing maybe that I've ever seen in a movie.
That's why I like Tarkovsky.
That's why Tarkovsky.
That's basically all like the philosophy behind Tarkovsky's movies.
Good to know that I'm gonna love Tarkovsky then.
It's like visual poetry. It's like about how each image makes you feel. You can analyze and like try and pick apart his movies, but the primary enjoyment of it comes from just like how the images like vibe with you, you know?
Cool.
And I kind of like that, because trying to sort of explain everything in a movie logically is always just so exhausting and feels like it just kind of makes things less interesting. Like, I would much rather just sort of think about how something feels without fully having to understand it.
Yeah, man.
Like, imagine sitting there trying to understand Inland Empire. You wouldn't, like, get enjoyment out of that movie.
I love the variety of Lynch.
Mhm.
I watched Mulholland with Will and Thomas, and by the end of the movie, we all had completely different interpretations of like what the movie was about. And then we talked to you about it, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, none of those were my interpretation of it."
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
Okay, we're gonna pick. Want to pick the next movie?
Yeah, I'm excited. With my luck, I know it's gonna be Manny though.
All right, let's see.
Okay,
He's
who
ruffling
do we
his
got?
fingers around,
Ruffling his
He's pulling the name out.
Manny.
Yep, I knew it. I knew it.
Oh,
Fuck.
Okay.
Second jar. This is going to be the topic of Manny's selection. The movie you are going to pick will be an animated movie.
He's got a trillion to choose from.
Giving me a lot of options there. Okay.
We'll be back with Manny's selection. And we're back.
All right, so I have decided on the movie, and I don't think any of us have seen it. None of us have it marked on Letterboxd. Jack, you have it marked as you want to watch
Okay.
it. So it's very cliche, it's very obvious, but I'm going to go with Akira,
Oh, fuck
Oh.
yeah.
1988, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
I've been meaning to watch this for a while. This feels like the quintessential, like, classic anime movie,
Yeah.
but none of us have seen it, so yeah, I'm really excited to finally get around to watching this. I haven't. I've been meaning to, so
Yes, thank you, man.
yeah, all right.
This will be an interesting thing for me because I've always been of the group of not liking like anime. Like every anime show I've tried to watch, I just have not enjoyed. And I've enjoyed like anime movies, but the only anime movies I've seen have been Ghibli. So I'm excited to see if my enjoyment of actual anime movies extends past Ghibli.
Tegan does not like anime.
I don't like anime.
I haven't watched that many like Japanese animation movies outside of Studio Ghibli, and I haven't watched too many animes, but I have enjoyed most of the ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Good pick, Manny. I approve.
Thanks.
Good
All
pick.
right. All right, so Tegan, want to do the outro now?
Ba-doop-boop.